Hi there. Good evening to you all. Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat, and this is our 16th one so far, and where I'm in conversation with a member of the Order of Bards, Ovids and Druids. So just sign your name or type in your name and let me know where you're from. Hi, Stefan Makaba, Luna from Arlington, Jules, from Italy, Elvira, lovely. Australia, hi Linda Joan, and from Taiwan, wonderful. And Wyvern from Oz, hi Rose, good afternoon to you. This is wonderful. So hi from Skegness and Kent, wonderful. This is great. And from Canada, Jane. Hi Stephanie from Utah, this is just wonderful. And Maryland, Michigan. So a lot from the US and down under and the East, that's wonderful. And of course, these islands as well. Colorado, how are you, Karen? That's wonderful to see you. So let me introduce you to this evening's guest. Tonight we go to Bruges in Belgium, and let me welcome Roland De Vos. So Roland, you're very, very welcome this evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everybody, or good morning to the other side of the world.
That's right. And so some of you will be watching this live, obviously the ones when we look at the comments, or others who are watching a recorded version of it. So hi, Ricky Koch from Wexford, the Coastal Animist from BC. Hi, Danny from Oregon. Wonderful. Lovely. And somebody from Wisconsin. Anyway, welcome. So, Roland.
Yes.
I remember the first time I met you was in Glastonbury at a summer gathering, and I think it was the 50th anniversary. Is that so?
That's correct. Yes, that was the first time that I did a gathering with OBOD. Before, I didn't do any gatherings. I was solitaire. Most of my life, I was doing everything solitaire. But when I started in 2005 with OBOD, and the first gathering that I did in the summer was with the 50. And that was the first time that I saw everybody in Glastonbury. And I took a friend with me, Maddie. She's also not living far from here, from Belgium, where I live. And I said to her, listen, would you like to come to me? And I said to her, it's going to be the first time for me. And she said, yes, why not? So that was the first time. And then it was so overwhelming to see everybody over there. And I didn't know anybody. Just me and Maddie, and that's it. And then we were standing over there, but it was so beautiful that weekend. Overwhelming, the music, the people, so friendly. And I met a few people that afterwards that I kept in contact as well. And it was so lovely that I did that weekend. And since then, it started summer, winter, and I started on for years. Until 2018 was the last winter gathering that I did. And then,
so what would you say, because I know my experience of the gatherings, but could you describe what your experience of Glastonbury is, when you're at a gathering? What is it? What is it that overwhelms you? What is the magic that you experience there?
It's just because even when I was a child, I used to live in Austin, and we had a huge pier that's going to the sea. I was always fascinated for the ship that's going to Dover and to the UK, to England. And I was waving all the time to the people on the boat. And I said, I want to go to England. I want to go to England. And I was always excited to go over there. So when I look to the gathering that I intend to go, it starts already a couple of months before. I'm getting excited to go over there to the UK, to England. And then I always ask somebody to come with me because it's much nicer if you have company in your car, because it's a long travel for me. Well, not that long. But in terms to Belgium, it's a long travel because it's an hour and a half to Calais, then you take the Eurotunnel, and then to Glastonbury, it's another 4 hours. Yes, hippie pants, and well, I gave one to Gregan as well, and I hope I still got that one.
Hippie pants and beautiful perfumes. That's my memories of Roland and Glastonbury. That's beautiful. Yes. Sorry, anyway.
Okay. So I normally take friends with me to Glastonbury, and then it's when we're driving over to Calais and then take the Eurotunnel. That's mostly a little bit okay, but then when you get to Folkestone and then driving to London and then the A303 to Glastonbury, then the excitement is getting started. And always when we take a little turn, I can't remember which road it is, but there's a certain point that you suddenly can see the Tor.
Oh yes, I know it. Yeah.
And then that starts it. Then you get all over your body that you get shivers and everything like that. And the thing that I like to go to the Glastonbury, to the gathering, is firstly the surrounding area, not the town center, but the area around it, the landscape that you can see, because it's also very hilly over there, and here in Belgium, it's a flat country that we have over here. And the atmosphere that's going on over there at the gathering, and then see all the people, and now I know a lot of people now, that's all around the world. And the contact with the people that you have, it's the hugging and everything like that, and friendly chat or a meal or something like that, or going out for a drink or something like that, and sharing that little moment. It's wonderful. And it's like, for me, it's like I have a family. Because here I don't have a family. I just have my husband and my parents-in-law, and I have a distant family in Germany, but that's it. I don't see them. But if I go to Glastonbury, I always say, I'm going home, I'm going to see my family. And that's something that I like very much. The ceremonies, sometimes I'm very open to it. Sometimes it's okay for me that I can say, okay, I can feel it, the energy that's surrounding the ceremony or something like that. And sometimes I don't have it. What I mostly like is in the winter, it's very quiet. It's more than in the summer. And that's what I mostly like as well. Because in the big crowd, for me, it's a little bit difficult. And also the people that are giving comment, when I'm over there, they say, oh, you smell so nice, you got lovely perfume on it. But that's because I make it myself. It's not bought in the shop. I make a lot.
Well, it's interesting that, that so many people have said to me, and I felt this myself, often, in the town hall, at the end of the Saturday, just around at the Eisteddfod, when it's like, I'm with my family. This is just so wonderful. Yeah. And when we're dancing together and Dave gets us all arms around and doing the Wild Mountain Time or whatever. And that sense of fellowship and friendship and closeness is absolutely magical. And it's to be experienced. You can describe it, but you actually have to be there to get it. So it's one of those precious things. And unfortunately, we haven't been able, with these current circumstances, we can't be there. But it's just lovely even to have conversations online, and that at least we can share something, that there's this online family rather than a physical family at the moment.
That's true. That is because when I'm thinking about it, many years ago, before I started with druidry, actually as well, I was a very quiet person. I wouldn't have a conversation with you 20 years ago. I wouldn't do that because I was a very close person. I didn't say anything at all. I wouldn't even stand on the dance floor. And I think you remember me. A lot of things that I've done, I'm going crazy on the dance floor. And it's also because I was not feeling comfortable in myself. And I was not sure of myself that I should do it or speak or dance or sing even.
Yeah.
Because I never did it before. And it took me a very, 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 very long time. But that's changed over the years, maybe getting older. But I think also with the work that I've done since 2005. So.
Wonderful. I know you said you did something before you joined the order, but before we get to that, what brought you to OBOD?
It started in 2005 when the first time I went to Glastonbury. And it was with a group with 9 people that we went over there. And it's somebody from the order as well, Roland De Vos, who's from Belgium. He organized the trip. And Muddy was also over there in that group. So that was the first time we went over there. I was not really comfortable with that trip a little bit. I was not really sure because it was the first time that I went to Glastonbury, and I said, oh, it's all strange over here. You can see weird people walking around because I was always a little bit distant outside a little bit. And then I saw that Glastonbury coming over there. But I think I need a little bit time to get used to see and to feel it, what's happening over there. And then suddenly, I don't know how it happened, there was a mention about OBOD and druidry. And then suddenly I wrote to the office, got the introduction, and soon after I started the body creates. And since then, it followed everything quickly. And I started with OBOD, and I have no regrets.
Oh, that's wonderful to be able to say that. What's been your? Can you talk about a spiritual experience that you have had? I don't know if it's the first one, but one that actually is important to you.
Do you mean the experience that I had with OBOD?
No, any experience. Maybe your first spiritual experience. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be your first, but the one that stands out for you.
I think when I was a child or something like that, I was always afraid of darkness that I know. And I think is that I always saw myself in my bed, and I was shaking to the bed hard, very hard. And then I woke up, and I didn't know what was happening. And afterwards, many years later, they told me what's happening to me. And I said, oh no, that's crazy stuff. I don't believe that and everything like that. But when I got deeper to it and studied more, everything that's you can find on the on books and everything like that, then I started to believe, okay, I did something spiritually and experienced something different. But the most thing that not really that much that I can say, for example, that give me an impact on spiritual level or something like that. Not really that, no.
So just to go back to that experience in the bed, what exactly happened? I know you said you were shaking the bed.
Yeah.
But when somebody said that was a spiritual experience you had, what were they? Was it somebody you were talking to years later, or how do you know what it was?
They said to me that because I had that many times when I was a child, till I was 35 or something like that.
Okay.
So I had that for many, many, many years. And I dreamt a lot. And I saw things and everything like that, very scary and everything like that. And I went to two ladies over here, not far from here, normally in Jabeke. And they said to me that I was drifting a little bit more like high. I was not with my 2 feet on the ground, so I have to put my 2 feet back on the ground. I was drifting up in the sky a little bit. I was floating in the air. So they gave me a couple of exercises to me that they said, oh, you have to get your feet back on the ground. So they helped me a little bit. And then it started to go back again. But the bed shaking, they said to me that I went out of my body.
Okay.
And I shook on my bed every time. I think it's more like a dream, but I'm not sure of it. Because I don't know what really happened. I think it was a dream, but they said to me, you went out of your body and you shook your bed until you wake. What I do have is that I dream. I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I can interfere it, and I can wake myself up and saying, for example, oh no, I don't want to see it.
Okay. And so do you still get those dreams?
I still get those dreams, yes.
Okay, but this time you're up.
They say to me that I'm very sensitive to all the vibration that's going around me. That I can feel a lot of things. They say that to me, the two ladies to me. And that's why I have the dreams and anything like that. I can feel very easy.
And so they were you're too up in the air, you need to come down. Do you find that good practice has grounded you?
Yes, they gave me a couple of breathing exercises, and I have to go walk with my bare feet on the grass, and drink a lot of water. I don't know why, but drink a lot of water. but mostly what was breathing and about put my feet back on the ground. And then the shaking of the bed, that had stopped. I don't have that anymore. The only thing that I still have is the dreams.
And do you find your druidry, your druidic practice, has helped you with this?
That also helped me a little bit, yes. That's, I can see myself a little bit from few exercises that I found through the grades. There's a couple of things that I find out, for example, I can say, okay, this is helping me a little bit. Like the body of light experience that the exercise you can do, that helped me as well a little bit. The grounding exercise, the tree exercise you can do, that grounds you a little bit, and that's helped me a little bit as well. So yes, so that's why I say I have no regrets doing the druidry, because I've practiced many different things in the past, different traditions, and I've been brought up as a Catholic in school, so I've done many things.
And I know you're a Buddhist, so could you talk a little bit about what brought you to Buddhism and how do you integrate it with your druidry?
I wouldn't say that I'm Buddhist, but I'm very interested in different cultures and traditions and religion and way of life. And there's also a way of life. It's not really a religion. It started with in 2007 when I met Christoph, my husband, my husband now. He loves to travel, so I started to travel since 2007, and that's 4 or 5 times in a year. Christoph used to live in Thailand for 7 or 8 years or something like that, and then in Nepal or something like that, and Italy as well. He lived over there, and then I met him in 2007. So I went to Thailand for the first time to Asia. 12 hours flight, but that was okay then. But then I saw the people over there and what they were doing, and the Buddha, the temples over there, and Bangkok, the big temples over there. And I was so fascinated with the different colors and all the statues of the Buddhas and the rituals that they're doing and the incense, because I love incense and candles and everything like that. And it's just amazing. The monasteries, if you go over there and see the monks over there doing the chanting and everything like that, I can sit there for hours and listen to them. And that's what brought me over there to the Buddhism. And even over here in my room, I have a Buddha and Buddhist signs over here. But that's what I love about Buddhism. It's so peaceful and relaxing. And I can find that also some of the exercise, you can find them in druidry as well. It's very well connected. Even in Hindu, you can find that as well. And why I'm doing this is because it's a little bit softer for me. I like a little bit softness and the color and the chanting, that especially. And that's what I do. But first I needed to do my druidry because I was missing a little bit before 2005. And when I finished druidry, I said, okay, this is not going to stop now. I have to do something more. And with the travel and all the interest that I saw over there and in other countries, I said, oh yes, I want to learn a little bit more about that and use it in my daily life.
So you say when you finish druidry, does that mean it's over, and you need to do something? You're adding the Buddhist practices onto your druidry, or you've left druidry?
Well, the study material is now in a box, hidden away a little bit. That's been put on the side. That is because I'm not going to say that I'm stopping with druidry, because I'm still going to visit the gatherings. I still do the season festivals that I do. I still do them. Not all of them, but there's some of them that I pay attention. And if I can't do the ceremony, I will stand still and say, for example, okay, this is the time of the season. But because of Buddhism is so much broader with texts and everything like that, and material that you can find, so many of the things that you can see and find and learn about it, that you say, for example, okay, I have to pay my attention fully 100% on that, and leave a little bit the druidry, the material, a little bit aside, if I need something, it's okay. I can take it out and use it and see the comparison, the things that is matching. And for example, say, okay, yes, that's similar like druidry, and can do that. But it's a lot of material available for Buddhism. There's a lot of texts that's going on, and different kinds of traditions of Buddhism as well. A couple of them.
Just Ellie, whom I was in Fireside Chat some weeks back, I agree with you, Roland. Buddhism is a great foundation for druidry, and they mesh so well. Right. Because studied druidry or Buddhism for quite a long time. So,
but it's, it's just with the traveling that I saw the Buddhism. Otherwise, I didn't knew about Buddhism. But you can see a little bit from television or from people around. But when I started travel, and especially to Nepal, that's one of my countries that I like very, very, very much. Because of there, you got the Tibetan people over there. They got free from Tibet, and most of them are living over there, and in India, of course. And when you go over there to Nepal and see the people over there and the pure monastery over there, the colors, so beautiful, and the chanting. Oh God, I want to go again.
Imagine you do. So I usually ask people about their landscape. So there's going to be two questions, because I'm interested in your landscape in Bruges, where you live. But I know your heart is very much in Asia as well. So can you first speak about the landscape in which you live and how you connect with that?
The place that I'm living over here, it's now called Wassenaar. It's a little bit outside of Bruges, about 15 minutes. It's a little bit in the countryside I am living. So I got an open field. I got a huge garden over there in the back. And there's an open field over there that they're growing spinach in the spring. And in the summer, they plant the flowers that we put on the grave with the 1st of November. We call it chrysanthemum, I don't know the English name. But it's full of flowers over there. They can see from October, and then the end of October, you can see the flowers over there. But it's everything flat over here. We've got a little park over here at the back here. There's a grotto over there. That's a replica of Lourdes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's the man who built it. He got the windmill that was standing over there demolished, and he built a grotto over there because his wife got cured.
Okay.
Serious disease, and so he built it as a replica of Lourdes. So we have that. There's a little park over there, but there's not that much trees or forest over here where I live, because as many people know, in Belgium, it's very concrete over here. So there's going to be a concrete stop over here in Belgium in 2025.
Okay.
So, but everybody is pushing now to put the farmland, and they buy it off the big companies and put houses on it, and that's what's happening over here. Some people are protesting on it, and you can see that sometimes as well, that they put signs on it that they want to build to it, and they fight it on the city council over here. No, you don't have to give permission or something like that. Sometimes they succeed, even with trees as well, because in Belgium they love chopping trees down. And there was one over here at the street as well, but there were big, huge oak trees. And they said to the city council over here in Jabek, no, you're not allowed to chop them because they're very grown, mature trees and everything like that. It took ages, but they're not going to chop down. So we won, actually, that to keep the trees. Otherwise, it's all flat here. That's the Flanders over here. If you go to the south of Belgium, that's more like Wallonia, the French-speaking side. And that's more like hills. Well, for us, it's mountains, but it's a little bit hilly.
Okay.
Here, and 15 minutes to the northwest or northeast a little bit, that's the coastline. So I'm very close to the sea. So we got a lot of wind over here.
So how do you engage with the flatness? Is this something that calls you, or are you more of a sea person or a tree person?
I would say both, because I lived in Ostend for 30 years or something like that. So I'm living here in Bruges since I met Christophe. It's 13 years. It's going to be 14 years that I'm living here in Bruges, not far from Bruges actually now. But if I think about it, I like both because I was living in Ostend. I always standing on the pier at the sea, and I was looking at the sea all the time. So when I had time off, I went to the sea. And also I would say a tree person, because when I think of a trip that I did to Lanzarote, it's a volcanic island. And the only thing that I missed, I said, oh God, I missed the trees. I want to go somewhere else. I want trees. And I said that many times, give me trees and the sea, fine.
Yeah.
And that's possible to find it. It's very easy.
Is there a sacred site are there many sacred sites in Belgium?
There are a couple of them over here, but mostly there are built churches on it. But we got this very special place over here in Bruges, and they say there's a small tube they have, and it's the Holy Blood of Christ.
Yes,
and once a year they do a procession over here in Bruges, and they take the Holy Blood of Christ out onto the streets with a big music and everything like that, and the biblical figures they put out and everything like that. It's very popular over here in Bruges and in Belgium as well, because a lot of people are coming to Bruges. I never went over there to see it because it's too crowded over there, so it's not possible to see anything. That's one of the most sacred thing that we have over here in Belgium, in Bruges here. But there's a lot of churches that I like over here as well in Bruges, because yes, I do like churches.
Yeah, Bruges is a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Is it a town? Do you have any sense of what might have been there before that, in a particular church, or I don't know if it's a cathedral or a church, where they show the little vial, the blood of Christ? Do you have any sense, or is there any knowledge or information about what was there before they built the church? Do you know?
Not really, no. We don't know that much about what it's been before they were building the church over here. So that's a lot of places over here in Belgium are full with churches over here. So, and also concrete, so we don't know what's beneath it. But sometimes when they demolish something, a building like they did last week over here in Middelkerk, they demolished the casino over there, and they found something from the Second World War. They didn't knew that it was over there.
Okay.
If they demolish something, they will find it, they will look to it, and then they take it away. That's what's happening mostly over here.
So, where for you, in addition, then I know we'll go to Nepal then. So, where for you, or maybe it doesn't have to be Nepal, but where for you is a sacred landscape that you can stand and say, I know all land is sacred, but there are places that have a deeper resonance with us than others. So, where is the place where you say your heart and soul lies when you're standing there?
Oh God, I love so many different places that I visit. But if I think to it, I think it's going to have to be Pokhara in Nepal.
Pokhara?
Pokhara is called, yes.
Okay.
It's a little bit outside, well, it's a far distant from Kathmandu, the main capital, actually. But Pokhara is because you have mountains, forests over there, lots of trees over there, and a huge lake. Okay, the town center of Pokhara is very busy now because the first time I visited over there, Nepal was very quiet, very small, but now it's very touristic and everything like that. So you can see a lot of people and buildings over there. But if you go a little bit outside Pokhara, you can see the mountains, the Himalaya mountains. Oh, so beautiful. When you wake up in the morning and you open the curtains and you see, oh, the mountains, white snow. So beautiful to see that. And I never did the trekking, so I never did that. So because that's a little bit difficult to do that. But other places, Pokhara, I would say sacred places because you got the monastery over there from the Tibetan people over there. And that's a little bit pure over there for the Tibetan people, the monasteries over there, because it's different than you have the one in Thailand, for example, or in other countries that you find over there. And the thing that I see over there, I got much more connection with that sacredness over there, what they're doing over there in the temples and the monasteries. And that's what I found. Is it my favorite? A little bit, yes. But I would also say that other places are also belonging to my favorites. So it's all a little bit the same level for me for sacredness. For me, it's the same, for example, Glastonbury, Stonehenge, that's sacred as well. If you go to Scotland, for example, you will find also different kind of places over there that you find, okay, that's sacred for me. So if I look to it, all the places that I did now until today, I would say, okay, that's a little bit sacred for me. But there's one place that stands a little bit out, not that much.
That's Pokhara. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it? When would you say druidry has supported you in your life?
I think it's going to be at the second grade and the OBOD grade.
Yeah.
I think that's when it started really to go deeply, because there was certain material that you get that you say, for example, okay, God, what is going on over here? And also with the OBOD grade, I lost my mother.
Okay.
In 2009. So I'm a mother's child. So she was everything to me, and she's also the only one that's from my family. And it was during the OBOD grade that happened, and that's with dealing that with all the situation that was happening around that my mother and her illness. She died of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at druidry and did some exercises that I say, for example, okay, what should I do? And meditate and about it. And that supported me a little bit to help me through, but it was very hard for me to do it. But I think that OBOD grade helped me a little bit, yes.
So it's more of that grounding, and then you talk about breath work, which meditation, I suppose, are central parts of druidic practice. That,
yeah, because when I started with druidry, I didn't do any exercises but I did some exercise before druidry, meditations and everything like that, but not that frequently, because I'm a very lucky person. I've got plenty of time, free time. So I just get up in the morning, go to my job, getting back home, dinner is ready. So I just put my feet under the table, clear the table, and sit down in the sofa, and that's it. We don't do anything at all. So I got the luxury for the studying OBOD degrees that I did that 4 or 5 times a week, meditate 4 or 5 times a week or something like that. So I wouldn't say that I got addicted to meditation, but it's like a feeling. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And the more I do it, the more I can feel it, okay, puts me down, puts me relaxed, and say, for example, okay, I will function better tomorrow.
And do you still have a daily meditation practice, or do you do other things in addition to your meditation?
I do a lot of meditation, and also other practices, breathing. Breathing exercise, I do that a lot. Especially when I'm finished in the evening or something like that. I normally stop at 9 o'clock. I don't watch that much television, but everything is put aside. I'm a music lover. I listen to music a lot. Everything is quiet. I go back to my room and I sit over here in a chair and listen to nothing and listen to my breathing. And I do that for an hour and a half or something like that. And then I go to bed. I just stare at the wall and I think of nothing. Just that moment of quietness and peace and quiet. Not for example, my work, it's every day. I got 10 or 20 or 30 phone calls a day that I have to do, and 20 or 30 phone calls that I receive. So every day it's people in your ears, and sometimes it's nice to sit in your room and say, listen to that stillness. Oh, it's so lovely. And that's the same with the thing that happened last year as well with the COVID.
Mhm.
The first lockdown, okay, it's a difficult time, but for me, I would say, okay, that stillness that you can find on the streets, even now, I don't hear nothing anymore now, because at 12 o'clock it's quiet over here, so we're not allowed to go out. But the peace and quiet, yes, that's something that for me is very, very sacred to me. And that's what I do a lot as well, every day. Weekends, only when I'm out for a travel or something like that, or with visiting somebody, I won't do it. But when I'm at home, an hour and a half, sitting in quietness and listen to nothing.
What a gift to have the sound of silence, you know. How do you honor the ancestors?
The first thing that I would say is that I pay attention, because we're living in a different time that our ancestors did. We're living in the 21st century. We've got lots of stuff that's available for us. But I do pay attention to is the way I shop. That's for the environment, for example. Before I used plastic to go to shopping. Now I got a tissue bag that I put my vegetables in and the fruit and everything like that. So many years ago, I didn't do that. So that's the thing that I do. And that's the way to honor my ancestors, because they took responsibility for the environment and for the landscape that's around it. So this is the way that I'm doing for honoring my ancestors, to respect the landscape and everything that has to do with nature. For the ancestors self, I don't have really that deep connection with it, with the ancestors. I never had that. I always, it has to be with nature. That's my deepest connection. Mm-hmm. So all things that I do is for nature. And for myself, of course, for myself, because I do have respect for myself. For example, oh no, I'm not going to throw that plastic away. I use something else.
And so I imagine, because you are making those choices around how you live your life, honoring the ancestors of the general ancestors, but that this is how you become a future ancestor, in that you're leaving behind your footprint isn't so marked, one that you will leave.
Yeah, I try to reduce my footprint a lot, but also I traveled a little bit. I go to Glastonbury, I go to Asia, and so I travel a little bit as well. But I think that I try to make my footprint so small as possible, the way I do it over here. For example, I'm not a material person. I'm getting rid of all the stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a technical person as well. I just have a little small laptop and that's it. I got a smartphone because my husband asked it, because I have to be constant in contact with him, because you never know what's going to happen, he said to me. So you need a mobile phone. Otherwise, I get rid of all the stuff. If I think about it, I moved a couple of times in my life. And if I moved from Bruges to here, and it took me 2 lorries. That's small lorries, that's it. About 40 boxes, that's it. 2 beds, some furniture, and that's it. I'm not a material person. So the thing that I'm saying about that is that I'm not a person that's going to buy, for example, and then put it in the house, that I'm not going to use it, because they produce it, they chop wood for it from the forest or something like that, use plastic and anything like that. So I said, no, I don't want it. I just leave it and leave my footprint as small as possible, not material and anything like that, small as possible.
So what would you say is one of your concerns about modern living or the modern world now? Most?
God, there's so much happening now since 2000, I think. If I look back to the 1970s and the 80s when I was a little boy, so much has changed. You could play in the streets in the 70s and the 80s on the street. Nobody said, oh, it's okay, you can play on the street. Now you don't see anybody at all. But also the recent development that you can see that's happening around the world now, that is frightening to see it. That some politicians are taking steps or something that you say, for example, oh God, don't do that. It's very worrying to see it. That scares me a little bit. Yes. Will I shout to it or say something or swear something like that? No, I don't do that. No. I just ignore it. I know it's happening. I don't watch that much news because I try to avoid all the news that is going on in the media, because so much is being pumped into the media and everything like that, that you are looking to it and say, oh God, I have to react to that, and try to avoid that as well. So that's just it's a scary thing that's happening now in the modern world. And also that the people, and I can see that on my job as well, because I'm a light decorator for bringing up the house. So I sell light fixtures for the houses and factories and shops and everything like that. And you can see that the people are reacting, oh, I want that, I want this, and I have to have that. And they're getting a little bit more like with the tongue, a little bit hard.
They're getting more like?
With the tongue, they're speaking a little bit rough, a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
So that's a word about the 21st century, that I say the modern time, people are more material, getting more material. And I think we have to think about it, what we're doing with all the things that's happening and it's coming towards us, all the things that's coming to us. And for example, say, okay, stop a little bit. And I think with COVID, that's happening a little bit now, is that people are staying at home and they do everything locally now, and not that much things and anything like that. So maybe that's going to change a little bit. I hope so.
So I was going to ask you, like, so what gives you hope for the modern world?
Hope. I know there are some few people, it's not that many, but there are people in the world that's trying to do their best to have a much comfortable living that we're having now. And if those people are still doing that, that will be wonderful for me. Now that gives me hope to see people in druidry, in Buddhism, in Hinduism, even in Catholicism, you can see that as well. There are certain people that meaning very well for our future and for the children that's coming afterwards. And that gives me hope. There are certain people, and they're still there, as small as we are, but they are there, and that gives me hope.
There's a question here from Jane Myatt. Tell us about your rock balancing, because I think it's a pity you cannot demonstrate it, but this is a great gift you have, because you strike me as a very calm person. And it's interesting, you talk about the materialism of the 21st century and people grabbing, that in many ways there's a lot of panic going on. I see it on social media. It comes out as anger and nastiness and pain, but I think there's a deep fear. And then I watch you, and we have watched you balancing. I've seen you, and I remember the first time I saw you, and I thought, that's not going to work, Roland. You cannot put that stone on top of that stone. And you did the impossible. To describe what you do, because you do impossible things.
Yeah.
Balancing stones that cannot be balanced, and yet you do it. And what part of you that you access that gets you to do that?
Yes. I started to do that with the rocks, balancing the rocks on every place where I go. For example, to the Isles of Scilly over there, there's a beautiful island over there, and there's a beach full of pedal stones that you can pile up and everything like that. People are doing that. But I started to do that, and I think it's happening more than when I finished my druidry grades, that I was feeling more relaxed and calm and everything like that, and paying more attention to my breathing, that I didn't pay attention to what's happening around me. So it was just me.
Yes.
And that's it. I didn't pay attention to what's happening around. I can feel it that people are watching me and say, for example, oh, what is he doing over there? He's balancing the stones over there. So I know that I did that in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland as well. And they said to me, oh, it's lovely. What are you doing that? How do you do that? It just happens. It's just my connection that with the pedal stone that I put up. I feel it, try to balance it, let go, and it's done. And it happens in 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Sometimes they fall down, but mostly they stay balanced. And I did some crazy stuff that I took pictures of it, and and I love doing it because it's like an addiction to me. And why I'm doing this is because when I'm doing that, I'm away from the material world. I'm away from everything that's around me. It's just me and a stone. And I'm a stone person because I love stones. I got half precious stones, but in the house that I love. And that's one of the reasons that I try to balance. It worked, and I did it. So,
because it's amazing. I'm going to do my hands. I've seen you can balance two stones like this.
Yeah.
It's not stones like that.
no.
You have possible. So there's something around you, switching off to everything around you,
Yes.
totally focusing on the stone that's on the ground, and then
Yeah.
the stone in your hand, or finding the stone around you that will talk to this stone so that you can connect in an impossible way.
Yeah, but it's also like it's because you have to be very, very, very calm as well, not nervous, not shaking and everything like that. I'm a very, very calm person, but how did I do that? It's through meditation and breathing exercise, Buddhism and everything like that, that I'm trying to do that. And it's so relaxing just to be with the nature and sitting on the beach or something like that and piling the stones up. It's lovely to do that, just to be away and feel that stillness in yourself and with the stone. It's magical. I love it.
Well, it when you see the results, and I have, it's like magic, because I couldn't do it, and I'm always. And I mean, anyone who's seen me do it, like, this is incredible.
You can put the stone like this and then over there, and just balancing on the side a little bit that it doesn't fall down. I tried that as well. It's okay.
But it's like you seem to know.
Yes, I know it.
They fit because you pay such attention to the stones, and you can see details, or you see the point of connection, the exact point, because you're so calm within. I mean, I think that's an amazing gift that you have, to be able to be so still and so centered and so grounded, to be able to get two stones to meet, connect. And it's not too, because you'll do a pile of them.
Yes, but normally in Buddhism you're not allowed to pile a little bit higher than 7, I think it is, or something like that.
That's terrible, to limit yourself and constrain yourself.
So I'm not piling any more than 7. That's it.
Oh, I think 7 is plenty. There's a question here from Bruna. If you spoke to a group of young people, what is the message you feel you want them to hear? You know, Ellie talked about little saplings in her interview some weeks back. And what would you like to say to young people?
Oh, what I would like to say to young people. I never had that chance that somebody older than the age that I am now, that they said to me, for example, this and that you can do. So I learned most of through my life. I'm now sitting over here. What would I say to the young people is my experience, for example, that I have been going on now. It doesn't have to be a religion or something like that, just the way of living and everything like that, and the way of thinking, responsible thinking of everything like that. You have to, before you say something, you think about it first, and then you say it before you react straight away or something like that. And that's sometimes very good. And that I would say to the people, the young people especially. I think the young people knows a lot now. So they're very well informed now, so they know a lot. But sometimes I got somebody on my work as well, and he listens sometimes to me when I talk about my trips or something like that, or how I react to people, or to people I'm selling something like that. And he listened to me that, and he said, "How do you do it?" And then I will say, for example, "Oh yes, I have that experience. I have learned this and that." That I would say to the young people.
Do you? I mean, my sense of when I compare my children and their level of awareness to my level of awareness when I was their age, they blow me away with their wisdom, their self-confidence, their inner knowing. Because for me, I was asleep in my teens. And I still think young people need some elderhood, some guidance, some teaching. And what for you is the most profound thing that you have learned that you'd like to share with young people?
I think what I've learned a little bit is just not looking over there on your mobile phone or something like that, on the technology and everything like that, but look outside a little bit. For example, go a little bit outside your area, like traveling or something like that. I'm not going to promote traveling, not that, but I mean looking to the other things that is available that you can see and found, and that you can maybe implicate in your daily life or something like that, and that makes you feel calmer and relaxed and a little bit and more presentable to people and to react to people and talk to people. That's something I would say, to look to it.
Because when you talk about your ability to balance stones, is because you go within, you meditate, and you're breathing. There's that, but then there's also look beyond yourself, look outside yourself, look to the open, observe the environment around you, and somehow bring those two kinds of awarenesses together.
Yes.
Is it
an inside and there's an outside, and mostly we are attached to the things that's in front of us, the technology and everything like that, and there you can find a lot of information. But there's also things that I can find, for example, outside a little bit. That's different kind of culture or tradition or the way of life. Some things that books you can find, texts, for example, that, for example, you say, oh, that inspires me. I can feel that something that I can use from it. And sometimes I can read texts as well, even in Buddhism. I can find texts that I can say, oh, yes, that it's nice. It gives me a feeling and it gets shivers all over my arm. And that's something that I can say, okay, I have to look a little bit somewhere else than I found on the internet or something like that for information. And also inside you can find also information, but that's through meditation and breathing exercise and mindfulness and everything like that. Because I've done mindfulness also last year.
Okay. All right. What has been your greatest achievement, or what are you most proud of?
My greatest achievement is the way I'm now sitting over here, is what I achieved in my life now over here. When I look back, I was a little boy, shy, not saying anything, don't look at me. But through the years and everything like that, when I was growing up and taking different kinds of studies and everything like that, and pay attention to myself and listening to myself, the druidry and Buddhism and everything like that, that gave me a certain place where I'm standing now today. And I'm very proud what I achieved now, where I'm standing. And also, I'm coming from a background where my mother was not a single parent, bringing up two children. And we didn't have that much food on the table, that she has to work very hard because she's from Germany. Well, we're actually from Germany. Come to Belgium in the 60s. So it was very difficult over here in Belgium. And she didn't have that much for putting on the table. But when I look now to myself, standing here in the house where I'm living now, God, huge difference. I'm very proud what I achieved. I'm very proud of it. I've worked for it. I've done a lot of things for it, and I'm very proud what I did. There's some failures, okay, that happens.
Absolutely, it's not without that. What would you say has been the biggest challenge that you've overcome?
I think Scotland. I fell in love with a Scotsman. Somebody from Scotland. And after many talks and everything like that, to keep it short, I moved over to Scotland because I can speak 4 languages. And but soon afterwards, I found out no, it's not going to work. But I left everything behind in Belgium. I sold everything, all my furniture, everything. Just 2 luggage. Here I am. Hello, I'm in Scotland. Then I came back to Belgium because it didn't work out.
Okay.
With the same 2 luggage and crying like a baby. Oh, what's happening? Oh. No worries, Roland. Put the luggage down. And remember that it was just the 6th of January or something like that. It was the beginning of the year. And I was standing there in Zeebrugge. My friend was picking me up. She was high pregnant. And she said, oh, you can stay over me. And I said, no, I go back to Ostend. So I went back to Ostend and stayed with a friend. And what I did is unbelievable. I got a job back.
The same job?
No, different kind of job. I always say when I leave a job, I close the door, I open another one, and I take a new challenge. That's with everything with me in my life. When I finish something, close the door, open a new one, and that's the new thing that I want to do. But I got a job back. I got in the house again. I bought myself furniture again in 4 weeks' time. So by the time of my birthday, half February, I got everything back again. Emotionally, because I was very heartbroken of my broken relationship, I was 50-50 okay. So I'm building myself up again. So I think that's one of the things that I would say, big challenge. But I got everything back and look where I'm standing now. So regret? No regrets.
I was going to ask you, have you any regrets? So none at all?
Not at all. But there's maybe one I would think that's my childhood, because there was one thing that I was missing in my childhood, and that's a father.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't have that. I love my mother dearly. Yeah? I still love her dearly. She did a marvelous job for us. But the thing that I missed was when I think about myself is, as a child, I was looking at the windows from other families. And there was mother and father sitting over there at the Christmas tree, giving presents to the children. And I was saying, oh God, I don't have that. That was a little bit difficult. But is that a regret? It's things that happens.
And that's not something you did. It's something that you didn't have, rather than something you did that you regret, or not having done. There was something you couldn't.
No, I wouldn't say regrets. No. Everything I did it with full conscience. I think about it. Sometimes there were failures, but I always put myself strongly and said, I will get through this. I will do it. And a positive mentality, you will say it, okay, you will get there. But it's hard sometimes.
I know from the little bits I know, you've been able to recover so many times from events that have happened to you that you bounce back. It's one amazing ability. And I suppose you're a model of how, when, you know, major events happen, and they happen to all of us, but that you pick yourself back up again, that you're very, very resilient. And I think in this time of COVID, that is one thing that sometimes I see is lacking, but that we need to really tap into our resilience, to be able to pick ourselves back up and to keep going, particularly in a time of uncertainty like now.
Yeah, it's difficult if I look back to it, all the things that's been happened in my life. You can say, okay, it's difficult and everything like that, but you have to go on and say, for example, okay, I have to go on, otherwise what's the point standing still and moan about it, or say, for example, oh, this is not working or something like that. It won't help you to get forward. And sometimes it's very difficult and you need time for it to do it, to say, for example, okay, I will go through it. But yeah, it's a hard work to do it. It's difficult. It's like smoking as well. Smoking is, I got a bad habit. When I'm on a holiday, I smoke.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm home, I'm not smoking. So I have the ability to say no. So you have to be strong sometimes.
Absolutely. Of course, it just shows that you have choices, and we have choices.
Yes.
And if we can even the smallest choice. What would you say you're most grateful for, or what are you grateful for in your life?
What I'm grateful for it. My strong willpower.
Yeah. Well, not okay.
My strong willpower, and mostly my strong willpower. I would say, for example, I'm getting more and more stronger. The more I older get, I would say more riper I'm getting. That's what I would say. Otherwise, greatest power.
What else are you grateful for?
Sorry?
What else are you grateful for? Like, what brings you joy, for example?
What brings me joy? Music. Music. I love music. Oh God, when I hear a song or something like that, and then I listen to it, you don't have to say anything to me, or even reading a text or something like that brings me joy. Animals, for example, the way the animals are reacting in nature or something like that. I love watching nature programs or something like that. I'm not going to watch movies or something like that, or series or something like that on television, but nature programs, and that brings me joy, and I'm laughing at it, and it's wonderful to see that, and it relaxes also a little bit.
Okay. Back to your music. So, what particular music, do you like?
In the 80s, but the 70s and the 80s, it was punk.
Okay. Very calming.
Sorry?
Very calming.
Yes, very calming. There's a punk music. You can see me in tight trousers and everything like that, and my hair a little bit funny and everything like that. New age music, that started with me. But then it's very broad, my variety, my music. It's now Celtic music. Lorraine de Kennett, I love her very, very, very much. I've seen her live here in Brussels a couple of years ago.
Okay.
There's also some kind of kirtan music that I've learned to discover recently. I love that very much. Mirabai Sibai, I saw also very live over here in Brussels.
Who is that?
Mirabai Sibai. It's an American group. He's from Germany, and she's from, I think, from Mexico or somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean, I think. And they got 2 children, I think, and they perform all around over the world. And it's like kirtan music or chanting and everything like that. Very peaceful music. I also like classic music.
Mm-hmm.
I like that as well. German music, because I was brought up as my mother, so Udo Jürgens, Carl-Gomm, Schlager Festival, all that German music. I know that. So I love all that kind of music. It's very broad, yes.
Beautiful. You mentioned reading. Are there any books? I suppose do you read nonfiction? Do you read novels? What kind of druidry books? I'm asking you lots of questions at once. I'm aware of that.
I'm not a huge big reader of books. I'm not buying that much books, but there's a couple of books that I have over here, and mostly there's something to do with astrology, because I like astrology. I have precious stones, of course. Herbs. I like herbs and oils and everything like that, because I make my own perfume, my own creams for my back, for example. I got problems with my back, and I make it myself because I don't go to the hospital anymore. There's some few books that I have from Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a Buddhist monk over there, so I have the books of him. Druidry books I have from Penny Beddington. From Chris, I have books which I haven't read yet.
So Penny Billington, Chris
from Wales.
Christopher Hughes, yeah.
The Cauldron book I have as well, but I haven't read it. So I have to still read it. Sometimes I buy books and I put it on the shelf and I say, oh yes, I have to get to it. But then I'll find another book and then also read that book a little bit. But the problem also is that I read a book and don't finish it. I read half of it or 3/4 of it and then put it aside, because I'm always interested in something else. I'm like sucking all the information and reading more and more. I wouldn't say that I read novels or something like that. sometimes a book that really happened. There was a friend, an American writer that was living in the south of France.
Uh-huh.
A very, very difficult time during the war because he lost his family in Auschwitz. And then he lost his family that he built up in southern France with a firestorm over there. So I read the book, and I think it's The Land of Mine or something like that. I can't remember the book. It's been many, many, many years ago. And of course, I read the book of Mario Bradley Simmer, The Mist of Avalon.
Yeah.
I wrote that book, I think 10 times or something like that. I still like the book than the film. And otherwise, so other books that I find information about herbs and stones and astrology and everything like that. Sucking in information.
Okay. So, is there anything okay, so you're a herbalist. I mean, you may not be a professional herbalist, but you work with herbs. I know you have an interest in astrology, and I know you do massage, and you do see people for healing, as well as bringing light to the world in your
Yes. I talk to people as well.
in the company you work.
Psychologist as well.
Sorry?
I'm like a psychologist as well. People are coming over here to have a talk with me.
Okay.
And sometimes I have to chase them out of the room because they say, "Oh, it's so peaceful and relaxing over here. I don't want to go." I say, "No, you have to go now."
Yes, you're a victim of your own success, Roland. Is there anything you change about your life?
Anything I would change in my life? Not really. Not really. No. I know there's some things that, okay, my parents got divorced at 4 years old. I was 4 years old. Would I change that? No, I wouldn't. I went to Scotland and I came back with nothing and everything like that. Would I change that? No, I wouldn't. There's some third things that happens in my life, for example, that's okay, it didn't went well. But if I look to the outcome and where I'm standing now, okay, it's fine. I wouldn't change it, no. Because it made me stronger through my life. For everything that I did and make decisions and everything like that, no, I wouldn't change it. The only thing I would change is the disease cancer, because that's my mother away.
Your mother away.
Yeah.
In terms of your own career now, your own career path, if you could change and do something else, what would it be?
I think that's what I'm doing here in my room over here. That's the herbs and everything like that, making my perfume and everything like that, because I know that people like it. Every time they will hug me or something that they say to me, "Oh, Roland, you smell nice. Where did you get that perfume? Where did you get that perfume?" I said, no, I make it. I don't buy it in the shop. I just make it over here. I got bottles over here and they stay 6 or 7 months in the box in the darkness. And sometimes I shake to it and leave the perfume over there. Because I know I have the ability and the power inside of me of helping people. And that's what I would say, for example, that a job that I would love to do is there a possibility to change that for me? For example, stop my lighting, decorating and everything like that? Oh, it's difficult because Belgium is not very open to what I'm doing over here. It's growing, but there's a lot of people that are doing that, and it's very difficult. I have a few people that are coming over here for a talk, for example, so they don't go to psychologist or something like that. I give massage, hot stone massage and everything like that. I give healings. I give perfume and creams and everything like that to people. Tea. Also, yeah. I love giving. I love giving.
That is absolutely wonderful. What is your favorite? And you mentioned you even if you don't do the ceremonies of the year, but that you kind of stand and acknowledge them. So I suppose 2 questions, 2 parts. What's your favorite season, and what's your favorite ceremony?
I think my favorite season I think it would be spring.
Okay.
In Morg, because the winter is behind us. It's getting a little bit warm and everything like that. And then you can see the flowers coming up, and the first flowers coming up, and then Easter is coming, spring.
Yes.
That's what I like. Because I'm a garden person, I love to work in my garden. If you put me a week off or something like that, I would spend the week in my garden. So like last year with the lockdown, I was all the time in my garden. So that's what I love to do. I got green fingers. So spring, that will be lovely. Also, I would say autumn, because of the different kind of colors of the leaves that you can find on the trees and everything like that. And then falling down, it's like, oh, so beautiful. That's gold and orange are falling down on the ground. And if you go for a walk in a forest and you say, oh God, they're so beautiful, the colors and everything like that. And that's lovely to see it.
Mm.
I'm not very fond of winter. No, I'm not a person that's like cold and everything like that. I like warm. In summer, it's okay, but then that's almost spring is the autumn is coming and winter. Then no, spring and that would and autumn.
And in terms of your festival, of the week of the year, which one calls you the most?
I think it's going to be Samhain.
Samhain, yeah.
Samhain, yeah. I think Samhain is because Samhain is because I visit a friend over there in Belgium over here, and then we do a ceremony with his wife, and I did it once over there for them, and it happens to me a couple of years ago that we did a ceremony over there, and I found it so wonderful to do the ceremony over there. And I think that one stays very close in my mind over here now. And that's one of my favorite that I would like to do. I will do the other ceremonies as well, still like them. But that one is coming out of it, and with the Galia and everything like that, I like it.
I lost you for a minute because I somehow clicked something and I disappeared, and you continued talking. Where was it you did that Samhain ceremony?
That was in Belgium over here with a friend. 2 hours from here. I think you met him as well, Thomas, at the gathering.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting because so many people say that I ask this question of is that their favorite one is Samhain, and that's always an interesting one. That's the one that, I mean, like you say, you don't like winter, and Samhain means the end of summer, and we're right heading into the beginning. Yeah. Yet it has a profound magic about it. There's a challenge in it, but there's a cleansing and a clearing away, and there's a mystery about it.
Yes, there's something that it's around that time that you can see, and also for us, it's over here because for Belgium, it's a very sacred time as well, because we put flowers on the graves of our ones. So we put flowers on it. On the 1st of November, you see everywhere in the church and the graveyards, all the flowers. It's covered with flowers. That's one of the things that I'd say, okay, and I love those flowers. I put them inside of my house, and I love those flowers. That's what I like most about it, about summer.
Okay. I'm just, you're saying you don't like, we've got snow here. We don't often get snow in Kilkenny where I am, and the snow is still on the ground. And I actually harvested the last of my tomatoes from my polytunnel today. I thought I would be harvesting tomatoes in January. So this is a miracle, and I'm very grateful because a friend of mine planted them last June. But no, they're not going to work. And I still have them. Well, I've just taken the last of them in, which is magic.
Yeah, I had before Christmas raspberries still from the garden. Just a couple of them. I said, "Oh look! I have still the raspberries over here." A few of them, and I said, "Okay, fine."
It struck me in early December that I was out on my bike and I saw lots and lots of dandelions in flower. Now, normally here they are in flower in, say, March, April, and by May, you're looking at the dandelion clocks, and you might see 1 or 2 dandelions in flower. But for some reason, there were lots of them in November, December. And I thought, this is really interesting. And then I saw the cleavers growing, new shoots coming.
Yeah.
I thought, this is fascinating that it didn't feel like spring, and yet there were the herbs were presenting as if it was springtime. So one of those quirky things. So I've just these mysteries about nature. How does it do it? And I know you could say, well, it's climate change and global warming, but there have always been really odd cold winters. Or there was one in 1739 in Ireland. There was a really bad freeze. Temperatures went down to -17, and it was followed by a drought in the summer. So all the stored food destroyed, because even in the outhouses, because it went down to -17, everything was destroyed. So there was no food. And then there was a drought, so there was no food for the following harvest. And they say more people died per head of population in Ireland from that famine than died in the potato famine. But I was never taught that in school. Really, really interesting. So we've had really bad winters, these outliers all through history, or mild winters that can actually sustain spring herbs in the winter. One of these.
For us, it's over here now, melting snow a little bit, so it's not very cold over here in Belgium now at the moment. It's about 4 or 5 degrees during daytime. What I also see is in the garden, I had some wild flowers out there, and the seeds fell on the ground, and the sunflowers as well. But then I took the seeds away from the sunflowers. Otherwise, next year you have a wild garden of sunflowers. But I can see the little shoots from the wildflowers coming up out of the ground, and they're the height of a couple of centimeters now. So I said, that's strange to see that, because it's still winter and they're shooting already. So I'll probably have to take them out, put in a little pot, and put in a conservatory a little bit. Otherwise, when it's going to freeze, they're not going to survive or something like that.
That's always my fear too when that happens. It's you mentioned, we're talking about the state of the world and things. Is there a situation where you would fight back?
I'm not a fighting person, no. I will use my words in a soft and a calm manner, because I know from experience that angry and getting something with violence or something like that won't help. That only create more problems and everything like that. No, it's for me. It's like words and something like that. I will never fight. I've never done fighting at all in all my life. Even as a child, I didn't fight back. They beat me up, and I just said, "Okay, fine, beat me up," and that's it. And then they were enough. So that's fine for me. I will use words for it in a very calm, soft. I wouldn't respond straight away. I will listen to it, pause, and then I will respond in a soft, calm, and respectful manner. I will never fight, never put my hands or say something stupid or something like that. No, I don't do that.
You never do?
No.
Wow.
No. Even if I have to lie or something like that because of my job, it's very difficult, I will bite my tongue. Because of my job, it's very difficult that you say, for example, yes, how much does it cost or something like that? It's not working, and sometimes you have to say, oh no, I will never lie. No. Very difficult.
It can be, because and it's wonderful that you can be, true to yourself and stand by your own values and your own principles without having to set out, because often people who are working, in particular organizations have to do that. This Ellie Talbot says, I'm with you, Roland. Physical action solves nothing. I asked her that question, and straight away she says, I'm a pacifist, always. It just was so strong on that.
If you look to the television, what's happened last night in America, then you can see what's happening if you use some angry words or something that can create problems with the people and everything like that, and doing crazy stuff and everything like that. So It's better that you think about it before you say something. Think about it, what you're going to say, and in a soft and a calm manner, and not, for example, say this and that in that way or something like that won't help. Not create more problems or something like that.
Absolutely. I know I teach a surgeon, and I agree, Mark, violence is never the solution. When you want to say something or you want to react, and kind of, like you said, pause and think. So the questions are, will this help the other person if I say this? Will it help our relationship? And if the answer is no, then say nothing. Because if you're going to speak up, is it going to help the situation? Because sometimes you want to say something, and it's like, okay, it'll make me feel better. I remember Ellie, some teacher asked her, if she's trying to make a decision, that the one question you ask yourself is, will I benefit from this? If the answer is yes, I will, then don't do it. But that is like, is this just about me releasing and letting off steam? Now, I think we do need to let off steam, but not at somebody else's expense. I mean, we do need to be able to rant and rave, but you find a place for it, because relationships are very, very, very important. And when you look at the level of violence that we see, both verbal aggression on social media, or what was witnessed in the US yesterday, that nobody benefits from that. And when you look at all the wars, who benefited? Only the people selling the arms.
Yeah, but there's always been something going on in the history of the world over here, that you can find violence and anything like that. It happens all the time. But for me, it's I would never raise my voice. I never shout to my partner, and we never argue. We sometimes have a different opinion about things that we're doing during the day or something like that. But I would never raise my voice to my Christophe or something like that. I wouldn't even raise my voice to my dog. So why should I do to a human being? So there's no point. Would you hit the dog? Would you hit the dog? If you're a respectable person, a person with a good brain, would you hit the dog? No, you wouldn't do that. So why should I hit a person?
And I get you on your physical constraint. I am impressed that you never shout at somebody.
I learned that because of my job. Because my job is a very stressful job. It's a very technical job that I have, and people are shouting, for example, and I have the phone on my ear, and then they're shouting, "Oh, this is not working!" Shouting all the time. And I said, "Okay, have you calmed down? Have you said everything?" Then I said, "I can look for it, and I'll understand the problem. I will look to it, and I will call you back with a solution. Is that okay for you?" Yes, okay, fine. Down.
Absolutely. That I get. I'm talking about the, I suppose, of being quiet. I think we've come to the end of our chat. It's been really, really interesting, and
more you could say.
What would you like? Yes, Karen Bennett. I've shouted at the TV way too much lately. I sometimes shout at my laptop when it doesn't do things.
Why I try to avoid the news and media and everything like that. That's why I've watched the things that happened yesterday and everything like that on TV, and because I want to see it, what's going on in the world. But sometimes you need to know what's going on, otherwise you get totally strange if you're not watching the news or something like that. And but otherwise, when I see it, I look to it and I say, it's 1 second and that's finished. I'm not getting angry on it. That's my reaction. And sometimes what I also do is, it goes in this ear, coming out of that ear, I kick on it and it's gone.
I've such wisdom, Roland. Now, from Jacqueline van der Velde, Roland says he's learned. Was he different when he was younger?
Oh, yes.
Okay, now tell.
When I was a young boy, oh God, I was very shy. I wouldn't even take my shirt off to go to the swimming pool at school or something like that, or even to the hot tub. I would never do that when I was a young boy. I didn't say anything at all. When I was in a group or something like that, I was very quiet. I was like in a shell. I was living in a shell.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to come out. And that took me, especially with druidry, that took me out a little bit. It came out of my shell when I was studying the quests and everything like that. And going deeper into that, I learned more a little bit, and I got a little bit more open. But when I was young, the only thing that didn't change, when I was young, I was not violent. I'm still not violent. That didn't change.
Ah, okay. So, and in terms of confidence, you have come out much more. I imagine you've that greater sense of yourself as an adult, as a man.
Yes. When I think about it, where I'm standing now, I'm much more confidence in myself a little bit. I'm a little bit stronger, well, a little bit, I'm much stronger. I'm still building up a little bit by little bit. And when I'm getting more older, I'm getting stronger. I can feel it. I'm getting stronger. And also the way I react to the other people and to my community, for example, on my work and everything like that, that is growing also. It's not changing, but it's growing. The way I'm doing that for other people. Exceptional calm person, that's what is needed today. I'm impressed. Thank you very much, Jens. Yes, I'm a very calm person.
Sorry, that's Ricky shouting at inanimate objects that don't answer him, that ignore him.
Yeah, the reason I'm keeping myself calm is because I know that making myself more stressful is not helping for me, because I got some issues with my health as well. And I know I have to keep myself calm, otherwise I will have health problems. And that's one of the reasons that I say, okay, slow down a little bit. There's more important things than making myself nervous or making myself angry. It's the most important thing is for me now, this moment with you, with all the people that's online now, having a good evening, have a lovely chat and everything like that. That is important for me. And breathe slowly and relax and enjoy and have a good laugh.
And absolutely, and you're spot on, and I agree with you. And I've been talking about this for months, about being in this moment. So you can say that to people and they go, yeah, I know that's what I should be doing. So what is it that allows you to remember the importance of being quiet in this moment right now? Because we know it theoretically, we all know about mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easy to say, oh, that's fine now, but feck it, I am really raging because I've got a puncture, or some idiot on the phone has not given me what I should have gotten, or whatever it is. That how come you're able to remember all these wise things in the moment so that you do it?
I think it's that you have to find what is most precious in yourself, what you most love to feel comfortable with it. For example, for me, it's music. And having a walk in the forest or something like that. And then what I do is when I walk, when I put a step forward, I breathe in, put another step, breathe out. And just pay attention to that and to the surrounding area. That's what I'm doing. And with music, it's the same thing. I just listen to the voice and the rhythm of the music and just pay attention to that and nothing else. It won't happen like that. You need to work on that, but you have to find a thing that is most calming and soothing that you can find in yourself. And look in the outside, where can you find it? Maybe it's inside of yourself as well, because I can find peace and quiet in myself as well. When I meditate, for example, I just sit there and stare at the wall or the ceiling and think of nothing. Then I can feel suddenly a peace and quiet coming to my body and my mind, because I'm thinking of nothing. But sometimes there is something coming past by it, and you say, for example, oh yes, I forgot to do that today. Oh, I have to remember that. You acknowledge it, you see it, let it go, and think of nothing again. Pay attention to your breathing or something, for example, or you're walking or something like that, or your music, and bring back your attention to what you're doing. You have to find something that you can say, for example, it could be stone, or it could be a glass of water, or something like that, that you can say, oh, or a cuddly toy, or your dog. It could be anything.
And I mean, that's so easy, because it's not easy. What I'm saying, I mean, is it's very, it's very simple. And it's that doing one thing at the moment. Exactly. That's how simple it is. That I think we live in such a complex world, or a busy world. We forget that actually it's simplicity is where we need to be in this moment, right here and now. And like you say, find an anchor. For you, it's music or your breath, or maybe a mantra or chanting or something like that.
Yes. I've been doing that for 4 years or something like that. And I'm trying to pay attention every day. By the moment I get out of bed and I say, for example, okay, I wake up, stretch a little bit, enjoy that moment, feel the sensation in your body, you're stretching and everything like that. And it's just that moment that you're thinking about, okay, that moment now, how does it feel? Picking up your cup of coffee, put it on your mouth and drink it. How does it feel? That's just that little moment. You will forget all the rest. You will not think about it. But it took me years to do it, years. It's not happened like that. And hard work.
Well, Jane says it's accessible to everyone. And then Cedar Creel says habits can be changed. Absolutely. And this is what, it's the simplicity of these things, that everybody can. Okay, it's not easy, like you say.
And some people, it won't help for some people that they are so deep and they need professional help or something like that, because I got people over here to come over here to talk, and I'll say, okay, I will listen to you, but I think it's much better you go for professional help to help you further, because I can't help you. And sometimes if you do something and you find don't way out or something like that, you have to go to look somewhere else, and that's the professional help a little bit.
That I agree, and I think you can go for professional help for those who need it, and I've had it myself. But there's also, it's the maintenance, it's that everything. So it takes effort. This is Mark Rhodes Taylor. It takes effort to learn how to master your own feelings. Once you learn how to hold on to an inner quietness, which you can access at any time. So whether you're going to a therapist, a professional, or talking to a friend, it's being able to do that. And I know it took me a long time to be able to sit in stillness and focus on my breath. Couldn't get it. Once I did, it's like that. You get it, and then you have it. It's like, yes. But it's like you have to experience it. There's no point somebody telling you, like, carrots are good for your eyesight and they're very nutritious and you should eat them. You go, but I hate carrots. But then when you have a good diet and you're actually feeling much better, you go, now I'm getting it. Somehow it takes a while for the penny to drop, because a lot of us don't want simple solutions. We always imagine it's much more complex. It can't be that simple to ease this complex pain that I have. And you're telling me I just need to be aware of my breath. My pain is too big. It can't be that simple, when in fact, actually, it can be that simple.
It can be simple, because as I mentioned I got some health problems as well. And there are days that I say, for example, okay, I'm fine, I don't have that pain, but mostly I'm in pain every day. That I can feel it. And lately I've been diagnosed with something else, that I faint suddenly or something like that, just out of the blue. And okay, you can stand still to it and say, for example, okay, that's it, no more further. But what am I going to say now? I forgot what I'm going to say.
Okay. So when you have pain, what do you do? And you find that?
Yes, when I have pain or something like that, and it's very difficult. But sometimes I'll just go to bed and sleep out of it, because otherwise I can't function anymore. But it's difficult when you have pain, for example, and say, oh, I got pain. But if you think about it, okay, I got pain, that's it. There's nothing you can do there. Take a painkiller or something like that, and that's it. But if you pay more attention to your pain, you feed more your pain. I think it is, for me, it's for me like that. I don't know for other people that's going to help that like that. But for me, it's like, don't pay attention to your pain. Pay attention to what is in front of you. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I take a painkiller or my cream or something like for my back or something like that. I can walk a little bit, but I try to avoid thinking of physical problems that I found in me. Try to avoid that mostly of it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but hey, I'm still here.
I think that's a very important thing, is being able to pay attention to what's important. So, like, you don't pay attention to your pain, so you pay attention to your breath, or to what you're doing, something like that, or smelling, whatever. And then when you look at the level of news that we're fed, particularly this time of the pandemic, and like even that you can pay too much attention to news and all of these terrible stories, because that's what sells newspapers, that's what grabs people's attention, and it's so toxic to be giving so much attention. There's no point living in a bubble, because we can't live in a bubble. We need to pay some attention to the outside world, but it's about keeping ourselves informed and then coming back into the still center of our being. And when you look at the Druids' peace prayer, deep within the still center, I find peace, and from there you can go outwards with it. And I suppose that's where we need to be. Not easy, but it's
not easy, and it's a lot of work.
Bring our attention back, then we wander again over to something else, but bring it back without any judgment, without any blame, without any harshness.
Sometimes I say to myself as well, a little bit, free of all attachments. Everything that's coming towards me, no, leave it. I don't need it. It's just me, myself. I need myself. Just enjoying that moment that I'm sitting here with you and other people and having a chat. That's what I'm trying always to do every day of a minute, that I'm trying to say to myself, okay, and that helps me a little bit further and further.
Okay, really interesting discussion, Eimear and Roland. I hope your pain is controlled soon, Roland, and you find peace and joy in all that you
do. My pain is under control.
Mark says, the news which we get all the time can be too much to handle. The news needs to be treated with care and not overdone. Absolutely. It's positive information and no more, rather than it manipulating your emotions. And I remember at the beginning of the first lockdown, last March, I only listened to it's a classical music radio station here in Ireland, Lyric FM. And somebody had said to me that they sent me a message and how upset and crying they were because they were listening to the news. And I thought, why are they so upset? Because I listen to news. It doesn't seem to be that upsetting. But then I listened to another radio station. Oh my God, were they laying it on thick? And I could feel my stomach turning and this anxiety rising. And I switched it off immediately. And I thought, that's not helping me in any way. It's not keeping me informed. The station that I do listen to gives me what I need to know. But this other milking it and drawing it out about people's misery and how it manipulates, and people can get stuck with this, and it feeds your pain, your fear, your anxiety, your resentment, your rage, and everything. So I was able to come back to, okay, what am I able to do right now for me, and what's the best thing?
And always smile. That's also very important.
Say that again.
Smile always. Laugh. Have a good laugh. That's also that I love to do, and have a good laugh or something like that, and smile all the time. It's much more easier than a face like.
This is true, but I mean, I've heard that you use less muscles to smile, frown. I don't know if it's true. Maybe it's one of the things. But it's time to end, Roland, and we're going to end with a smile. And it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I do know you bring a lot of joy and smile into the lives of people that you meet. So I hope our audience here enjoyed meeting you and listening to our conversation as much as I enjoyed listening to you. So I'm going to thank Roland De Vos very much. And I'm going to stick you out there, but don't go anywhere. Wait a second. I don't want to block myself off like I did before. So thank you all very much for joining us tonight. And I also love your comments and the fact that you're with us. It's not just the two of us talking. Both of your beautiful energies are so needed now. Thank you, Karen. Thank you both, Ricky. That's lovely. So I look forward to seeing you next week, when I will be in conversation with another member of the Order. And it's just so wonderful that we can create this space online to well, for me, I just love being able to chat to members of the order, and lovely to have you taking part and joining in and listening. So yesterday was Nullig Naman, Women's Christmas here in Ireland, where it's meant to be the Women's Day off traditionally, and it marks the end of the 12 days of Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Christmas culturally here in Ireland. Well, I do, and so I wish you all the best for this week and for the coming months ahead, and just be well and be safe. I know we're in a serious lockdown again in Ireland for the next, I don't know how long, and I assume it may be the same wherever you are as well. So please be safe. Wonderful conversation, Pascal. Uplifting, especially after the frustration here in the US. Thank you. So I think it's focus on your breath, smile, and find that still center within your being. Look forward to seeing you all next week. Slán go fóill.